Imagine living in a peaceful town where everyone knows everyone, and one person's life shatters the illusion of safety forever. Today, we're diving deep into the chilling story of Emily Harper, a young woman whose life seemed perfect until it wasn't. Before we get started, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any part of this story. This is not just another crime story. It's a journey into deception, secrets, and a mystery that shook an entire community. Emily Harper wakes up at 6:45 a.m. in her apartment in Silver Lake, Los Angeles. Sunlight spills through half-closed blinds, painting the walls with soft streaks of gold. She stretches, yawns, and reaches for her phone on the nightstand. Notifications light up her screen, emails from work, social media messages, and a few unread texts from her ex, Ryan Matthews. She scrolls through her Instagram, hiking photos, weekend brunches, selfies with friends. Her thumb pauses over a picture from last week. Her laughing with Sarah and Megan at a small cafe. She smiles briefly, then shakes her head. Emily makes coffee, takes it to the balcony, and sips while checking Twitter. She tweets, "Finally finished that project. Now I can breathe." To anyone looking in, Emily's life seemed perfect. She had a creative career she loved, an apartment that reflected her taste, and friends who cared about her. But behind the carefully curated posts and morning smiles, there were small cracks no one could see. Yet, Emily leaves her apartment at 8:15 a.m., grabbing her bag and locking the door twice. On the way to work, she notices a black sedan parked near the corner. She frowns, feeling a subtle unease. Nothing concrete, just a creeping tension. At work, Emily greets colleagues warmly but keeps her personal life mostly private. Her desk is tidy, decorated with a small succulent and a framed photo of her family. Ryan Matthews approaches her desk. "Ryan?" "Morning, Em. You working late again?" "Emily?" "Yeah, trying to finish this project." "How's the new client meeting going?" She smiles politely, hiding the discomfort she feels whenever Ryan is near. Emily had ended things with Ryan months ago, but he remained a constant, hovering presence at work and social events. She didn't want drama, yet life has a way of forcing it upon you. Lunchtime, 12:30 p.m. Emily meets Sarah and Megan at a small downtown cafe. The three friends chat, laughing over cappuccinos and sandwiches. "Emily, I'm so glad we're doing this. Work has been nonstop." The conversation drifts to weekend hiking plans, favorite books, and subtle gossip about colleagues. Emily's social life was carefully balanced. She enjoyed moments of laughter and comfort with friends, but she kept certain worries close to her chest. One of those worries was Jacob Reynolds, an acquaintance from her art class, whose friendly interest had grown increasingly persistent. That evening, Emily notices her apartment door slightly ajar when she returns home. Her heart quickens. On the doorstep, a small package she didn't order sits untouched. She picks it up, shakes it lightly. Nothing falls out. The handwriting is unfamiliar. Her phone buzzes. Unknown number. "See you soon." Another message. "You can't hide forever." Emily texts Megan, "I don't know who this is. Well, it's creepy." Megan, "Call the police, Emily. Don't ignore it." It's easy to dismiss small warnings, but sometimes those warnings are all you get. Emily was unknowingly standing on the edge of something she couldn't see yet. Thursday, October 15th, 2024. Emily dresses for dinner with Sarah and Megan, a dark blouse, jeans, and her favorite necklace. She double-checks the locks on her apartment. She notices the black sedan again, still parked outside, engine off. She takes a mental note, tries to ignore it. On the way to the restaurant, she receives another message. "Tonight, It ends. At the restaurant, Emily laughs and talks, sharing stories of work struggles and small victories. Yet her smile is strained. The messages echo in her mind. Emily's final evening of peace is stretched across minutes that feel endless when you know something is wrong, but can't pinpoint what. Every laugh, every sip of wine is tinged with the shadow of an unseen threat. By the end of this night, Emily's life would take a turn no one could predict. Secrets, lies, and unseen dangers were converging, and the people around her were about to be forced into the darkest corners of truth. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss a single moment. Outside, Mrs. Thompson, Emily's neighbor, notices the black sedan still parked. Windows dark, license plate partially obscured. She frowns, suspicious but unsure. Emily walks home, later texts Sarah. "There's a weird car outside. I'll be home soon." Sarah. "Lock your doors. Don't worry about it too much." Every step, every glance, every small warning was a thread in a tapestry of danger that no one yet fully understood. The night was quiet, but tension hung in the air like a storm about to break. Emily leaves the restaurant with Sarah and Megan around 10:15 p.m. The streets of downtown Los Angeles are alive with nightlife. Neon signs flickering, people laughing outside bars, the occasional honk of a taxi. Emily waves goodbye to her friends outside the restaurant. Her phone buzzes. Another text from an unknown number. "You're not alone." She shivers, glances around, but sees no one unusual. The city feels crowded yet empty at the same time. Emily starts walking toward her apartment, taking a slightly longer route through dimly lit streets to avoid the main road. Her heels click softly on the pavement. Each step heightens her anxiety. Every instinct screamed caution. Yet she told herself it was just paranoia. After all, life had always felt safe. Until now. Around 10:45 p.m., Emily notices the black sedan again, parked several blocks from her apartment. The driver's side window is slightly rolled down. She texts Sarah. "There's a car following me. I'm almost home." Sarah responds, "Call the police, Emily. Don't take any chances." Emily hesitates. Her phone rings. Unknown number. She lets it go to voicemail. A cold sweat forms on her forehead. She quickens her pace. Shadows move along the walls of buildings, but every shadow could just be a passerby. Emily finally reaches her building at 11:05 p.m. She fumbles with her keys, heart racing, feeling eyes on her. She locks the door behind her and double-checks every window. Her apartment feels unusually quiet. Even the hum of the refrigerator seems louder than normal. She puts her bag down and notices a package at her door again. This time it's larger. No label, no name, just a plain box. Emily opens it cautiously. Inside, she finds a single photograph of herself leaving the restaurant, time-stamped from 30 minutes earlier. Her pulse spikes. The first real fear sets in when the unknown becomes known. Someone had been watching her, tracking her every move. Her phone buzzes again. You can't hide. Emily paces the apartment. She considers calling 911, but hesitates. What if the caller is waiting for her outside the building? The apartment feels like a trap, silent except for the occasional creak of the floorboards. Around 11:30 p.m., she hears a faint knock at the door. Emily freezes. She looks through the peephole. Empty hallway. Another knock, louder. Her hands tremble as she picks up her phone to dial Sarah. Emily, I think someone's here. I don't know what to do. Sarah, stay calm. Lock the door. Don't open it for anyone. I'm calling 911. Emily locks the door again. Suddenly, a shadow passes her living room window. She gasps, drops her phone. The black sedan's headlights illuminate the apartment briefly as the car moves closer. Emily's mind races. She grabs a kitchen knife, holding it tightly. Every sound, the wind, the pipes, the distant sirens, is magnified. The door shakes slightly as if someone is testing it. Emily, whispering, "Please, just go away." A crash from the balcony. Emily spins around. Nothing, just a chair knocked over. She backs into the corner, terrified, phone in hand. The night she feared was finally here. Every precaution, every warning, every instinct pointed to danger. And now it had arrived. A shadowy figure appears at the balcony door, silhouetted against the city lights. Emily screams, knife raised. The figure steps back slightly, then slowly advances. Her phone rings. Unknown number. She answers instinctively. Voice, deep, distorted. "You shouldn't have ignored me, Emily." Emily's breathing is rapid, panicked. She tries to retreat toward the kitchen. The figure lunges. Struggle ensues. The knife is barely a deterrent. Emily trips, falls, and scrambles toward the door. Every second stretches into an eternity. Fear becomes a living thing, controlling every move, every thought. The intruder overpowers her, dragging her toward the balcony. A final scream echoes into the night, unheard by neighbors. Silence falls. The city continues below, oblivious to the horror above. The black sedan leaves slowly, tires crunching on the asphalt, disappearing into the night. By morning, police are alerted by concerned neighbors who noticed the apartment door ajar and strange noises the night before. The quiet life of Emily Harper ended in the shadows of the city she called home. But the story was far from over. Investigations, evidence, and dark secrets were about to unravel, bringing every detail into the light. Detectives James Crawford and Lisa Monroe enter Emily Harper's apartment at 6:45 a.m. The morning sun casts stark shadows across the disheveled living room. Blood smears on the carpet, furniture overturned, papers scattered everywhere. Forensics team begins photographing, bagging evidence and dusting for fingerprints. The apartment is silent except for the low hum of fluorescent lights and the clicking of cameras. Detective James notices the broken balcony door. James: "Someone came in or went out through here. We need to check the exterior and surrounding area." Lisa pulls out her notebook. Lisa: "Neighbors report seeing a black sedan outside multiple times last night. Partial plate. 4GHT? Could be a lead." Sarah Lopez and Megan Turner arrive for questioning. They recount the evening at the restaurant, Emily's laughter and anxiety, and the strange messages. Sarah: "She kept checking her phone. I thought it was nothing, just stress. But she seemed scared." Megan: "She mentioned a car following her, said something about someone watching her apartment." Detectives note that Emily had reported nothing formally before the attack. The trail of clues begins with fear, ignored warnings, and the quiet desperation of someone trapped by unseen eyes. Emily's phone is examined. Texts from unknown numbers, all deleted before she could save them. Forensic specialist recovers fragments. Tonight it ends. You can't hide. Social media accounts show surveillance-like comments from a user named @ShadowArtReynolds. Posts and messages reveal subtle obsessions. Likes on old photos. Comments hinting at knowing her schedule. Detectives theorize. James: "This wasn't random. Whoever did this planned it. They watched her, tracked her movements." Lisa: "And the messages. They wanted her to feel the fear before it happened." Police trace vehicle sightings. Security cameras from nearby stores capture a black sedan circling the block repeatedly between 10 p.m. and 11:15 p.m. Partial plate matches. Jacob Reynolds, Emily's art class acquaintance. Detectives prepare to bring him in for questioning. A familiar face emerges from the shadows. The person Emily had brushed off as harmless now becomes the central figure in a nightmare. Jacob Reynolds is brought to the station at 2 p.m. He appears calm, almost rehearsed. Detective James. Jacob, we need to talk about Emily Harper. Where were you last night around 10 p.m.? Jacob. I was at home, alone. I didn't see her. I don't know what this is about. Lisa. Neighbors saw your car near her apartment. Cameras caught it. The messages traced back to your account. Jacob. I just wanted to warn her, not hurt her. I didn't do anything. Detectives notice slight inconsistencies in his story. His hands tremble. He avoids eye contact. The first cracks in his calm exterior begin to appear. Lies have a way of revealing themselves under pressure. Detectives search Jacob's apartment with a warrant. Items found. Photos of Emily, sketches of her apartment, printed social media posts, an empty box matching the one left at her door. Forensics confirms fingerprints on the box matched Jacob's. James. This is escalating fast. He planned every step. The messages, the stalking, the psychological torment. We're close to connecting him to the night of the attack. Emily's computer shows deleted files, emails and messages indicating Jacob had been trying to manipulate her friend group, isolating Emily slowly. Interrogation continues late into the evening. Lisa. Jacob, the evidence is clear. Your fingerprints, your messages, your car, admit it. You followed her, you planned it. Jacob. I didn't want to hurt her. I wanted her to notice me. I didn't mean... The detectives note inconsistencies. Psychologists called to evaluate his mental state. His behavior shows obsession, fear, and calculated manipulation. Every lie, every evasive glance, every trembling hand builds the case. The puzzle pieces fall into place, painting a horrifying picture of obsession turned deadly. Detectives return to Emily Harper's apartment at 9 a.m. to review the initial forensic findings. Every detail is examined again. Fingerprints, broken balcony door, placement of the box, and the position of furniture after the struggle. Photographs are compared with timestamps from security cameras in the area. The scene tells a story of fear, struggle, and meticulous planning. Each item, each smudge, each overlooked detail begins to form a timeline, revealing not just what happened, but how it was orchestrated. Detective Lisa Monroe notes the small scratches on the balcony floor, suggesting a struggle occurred near the edge. Detective James Crawford observes fingerprints, not belonging to Emily or Jacob. Unknown prints are carefully collected. Neighbors interviewed again. Several recall seeing a shadowy figure pacing near the black sedan late at night. One neighbor mentions a man carrying what looked like a large bag. Suspicious but dismissed at the time. Neighbor. I didn't think much of it, just someone coming home late, but now it's different. Detectives piece together Emily's last movements outside the apartment. Camera footage confirms her path from the restaurant to her apartment. A figure occasionally appears in the background, keeping distance but following closely. Every witness, every recollection, and every overlooked observation begins to converge on a single terrifying conclusion. Emily Harper was being stalked, meticulously, with a clear intent. Emily's recovered phone and computer reveal deleted messages, location tags, and social media interactions. Investigators uncover patterns, messages sent to Emily late at night from different accounts, all traced back to Jacob Reynolds. The messages escalate in intensity over months, from casual compliments to subtle threats and surveillance-type remarks. Detective James. This isn't just obsession. This is calculated harassment and psychological torment leading up to a violent act. Emily's friends Sarah and Megan provide screenshots they saved, showing subtle manipulations, false messages, attempts to isolate Emily from friends. Jacob is brought back to interrogation after additional evidence is collected. Lisa. Jacob, we have everything. The box, the messages, your fingerprints. There's no escape. Jacob. I didn't mean to hurt her. I just wanted to get her attention. James. Attention? You watched her, followed her, left messages threatening her life. That's not attention, Jacob. That's murder. Jacob becomes visibly agitated. His story begins to unravel under pressure. Detectives push further, comparing timeline evidence from cameras, messages, and his alibi. Each lie crumbles as physical evidence and digital footprints align. The truth is no longer a shadow. It is tangible, undeniable, and horrifying. Forensics uncovers a hidden journal in Jacob's apartment, detailing his obsession with Emily. Sketches of her apartment, routes, and routines indicate careful planning. Dates and times match the messages and the night of the crime. Investigators find receipts for items used in the attack: gloves, tape, and rope. Lisa. This confirms premeditation. This was planned for months, down to the minute. Emily's final day messages and images are reconstructed, showing the psychological manipulation she endured before the attack. Detectives and prosecutors prepare a case against Jacob. Evidence is organized: digital messages, eyewitness statements, forensic findings, and the journal. Prosecutor remarks. Prosecutor. We have everything needed to prove intent, premeditation, and the psychological torment leading to Emily's death. The community is shaken. Media reports emphasize the meticulous stalking, the psychological manipulation, and the brutality of the attack. Emily Harper's story has moved from tragedy to a fight for justice. Every detail collected, every witness statement, every recovered message forms a case that cannot be ignored. The courthouse is crowded. Media cameras line the hallways, reporters whispering, and the community gathered to witness the trial. Jacob Reynolds is escorted into the courtroom, handcuffed, wearing a navy suit. His demeanor is tense but composed. The judge calls the court to order, and the prosecutor stands to outline the charges: first-degree murder, premeditation, and stalking. Prosecutor. Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Emily Harper's life was stolen through calculated obsession, meticulous planning, and terrifying manipulation. Over the course of months, the defendant, Jacob Reynolds, tracked her, harassed her, and ultimately executed a plan that ended her life. Evidence will show this was not a crime of passion, but a cold, deliberate act. Sarah Lopez takes the stand. Sarah. Emily had been worried. She didn't want to tell anyone, but I could see it in her eyes. She was scared, and she didn't know why. Megan Turner testifies next, showing screenshots of messages from Jacob. Megan. These were creepy, threatening. I told her to call the police, but she didn't want to alarm anyone. She thought she could handle it herself. Neighbors provide details of the black sedan and the shadowy figure near Emily's apartment, corroborating timelines. Each testimony paints a picture of a life under siege, a young woman caught in a web of fear meticulously spun by someone she thought was harmless. Prosecutors present evidence from Jacob's background. School records show a history of obsessive behavior, manipulative tendencies, and minor legal infractions. Emails and social media posts reveal a pattern of fixation on women he interacted with, escalating over years. Prosecutor: Ladies and gentlemen, this wasn't a sudden act. This was the culmination of a long-standing pattern of obsession that escalated to murder. The courtroom murmurs as photos of Jacob's apartment and his journal are shown. Sketches, timelines, and plans meticulously documented. The prosecution brings forensic experts to explain evidence: fingerprints on the box, blood smears, and digital traces linking Jacob to the crime. A forensic analyst walks the jury through recovered messages on Emily's phone, showing deleted texts and timestamps that match Jacob's known movements. Forensic analyst: These messages were sent from accounts traced back to Jacob Reynolds. They show deliberate harassment and manipulation over time. Security footage from streets near Emily's apartment is shown, highlighting the black sedan following her, confirming stalking behavior. Every piece of evidence constructs a timeline that leaves little room for doubt. Each action, each message, each observation demonstrates premeditation. Jacob is called to testify. The courtroom is tense. Judge: State your full name for the record. Jacob: Jacob Reynolds. The prosecutor questions him carefully. Prosecutor: Jacob, you knew Emily Harper. You followed her, stalked her, and sent threatening messages. Explain this to the court. Jacob: I didn't mean to hurt her. I just wanted to be noticed. I didn't plan any of this. His statements are inconsistent. Detectives' reports, messages, and forensic evidence directly contradict his words. Defense attorney tries to argue obsession without intent. Defense attorney: My client struggles with mental health issues. He didn't intend to harm anyone. This was misguided behavior, not premeditation. But the evidence is damning. Every calculated move, every message, every shadow in Emily's final hours points toward intent, not accident. Emily's family attends, visibly shaken. Her sister takes the stand. Sister: Emily was smart, kind, full of life. She didn't deserve this. She trusted people, and someone abused that trust. I want the world to know who she was and why this matters. The courtroom falls silent as video clips of Emily's life are played. Laughing with friends, working at her design projects, small joys of daily life. The human side of this tragedy becomes undeniable. It's no longer just evidence on paper. It's a life violently taken, leaving a permanent void. Prosecutor confronts Jacob with evidence he tried to delete. Prosecutor: You deleted messages, hid your journal, planned your movements. How can you deny intent? Jacob: I panicked. I didn't want to get caught. I didn't mean... Each answer falters under pressure. Jury observes tension, hesitation, and fear in his eyes. Every moment in court draws the story closer to judgment. Every lie exposed, every detail revealed, brings the case into sharper focus. The courtroom is packed. Reporters, family members, and community members watch as the prosecution prepares to present final evidence. Jacob Reynolds sits silently, fingers intertwined, occasionally glancing nervously at the jury. Judge calls the court to order. Judge: We will proceed with the continuation of the trial. Counsel, please begin. Prosecutor: Your Honor, the defendant's obsession with Emily Harper did not begin yesterday. It was calculated, deliberate, and escalating. Today we will show the jury the full extent of his planning and manipulation. The prosecution calls a digital forensics expert to the stand, who explains the recovered deleted messages, timestamps, and location tracking. Forensics expert: The messages sent to Emily Harper originated from Jacob Reynolds' devices and were timed to psychologically manipulate her. Every action was premeditated. Megan Turner is called back to testify. She brings screenshots of additional messages and emails. Megan: He tried to isolate Emily from everyone. There were emails pretending to be from friends, trying to make her doubt people she trusted. Sarah Lopez adds, Sarah, we didn't realize the extent. Emily laughed it off at first, but I could see the fear in her eyes grow over weeks. She told me about him, but didn't want to make a big deal. She thought she could manage it. The jury begins to see a pattern of control, manipulation, and obsession that escalated into violence. Defense attorney attempts to frame Jacob's actions as mere obsession without intent to harm. Defense attorney. Ladies and gentlemen, my client was misguided, overwhelmed. He did not plan a murder. His actions were a result of emotional instability, not premeditation. Prosecutor cross-examines. Prosecutor. You sent messages to Emily threatening her life. You stalked her movements. You left a package with her photo on the doorstep. How is that emotional instability and not planning? Jacob stammers, trying to explain, but contradictions in his previous statements are highlighted. Every lie, every weak excuse, every faltering statement only strengthens the case against him. Prosecutors present Jacob's journal. Pages show sketches of Emily's apartment, her routes, detailed notes about times she left work, and manipulative plans. Dates, times, and annotations correspond with messages, security camera footage, and eyewitness accounts. Prosecutor. This journal shows months of calculated planning, not spontaneous actions. Each entry shows intent to manipulate and harm Emily Harper. Jury members lean forward, visibly disturbed by the meticulous planning revealed in the journal. A forensic psychologist testifies about Jacob's behavior. Psychologist. His actions indicate obsession escalating to violence. He displayed fixation, manipulation, and an ability to mask intent until it culminated in murder. This is a textbook case of premeditated obsession-driven homicide. Jurors take notes. Defense objects, but the judge allows it as expert testimony. The story of Emily Harper now extends beyond physical evidence. The psychology of her killer, the pattern of obsession, and the premeditation are laid bare in the courtroom. The prosecutor pushes Jacob further, confronting inconsistencies and lies. Prosecutor. You claim to panic, yet your journal shows meticulous planning. You claimed no intent to harm, yet every action was calculated to instill fear. Explain this to the jury. Jacob. I just wanted her to notice me. I didn't want. Jacob's voice trembles. Beads of sweat form on his forehead. His story collapses under scrutiny. The courtroom remains silent, the weight of his actions evident in every eye. Every moment of cross-examination exposes not just the crime, but the depth of obsession, deception, and the calculated terror inflicted on Emily Harper. Prosecutor addresses the jury. Prosecutor. You've seen the evidence, the witnesses, the messages, and the planning. Jacob Reynolds is responsible for Emily Harper's death. This was not a crime of passion. It was premeditated, deliberate, and horrifying. Justice must be served. Defense attorney attempts to appeal to leniency, citing mental health issues and lack of intent. Jury is left to weigh months of evidence, testimonies, psychological evaluations, and the meticulous planning that led to Emily's murder. The stage is set for the final verdict. The courtroom is tense, every detail scrutinized, and the story of Emily Harper moves closer to its resolution. The courthouse is packed. Media flashes, murmurs, and tension fill the air. Family members, friends, and the public await the jury's decision. Emily's sister, mother, and closest friends sit in the front row, hands tightly clasped, faces pale. Jacob Reynolds sits with his defense attorney, visibly tense, eyes darting toward the jury. Judge calls the court to order. Judge. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, have you reached a verdict? Four-person stands, papers in hand. The moment of truth has arrived. Months of investigation, evidence, and testimony culminate here in a single word that will change lives forever. The foreperson reads, Foreperson. We, the jury, find the defendant, Jacob Reynolds, guilty of first-degree murder with premeditation and stalking. Gasps ripple through the courtroom. Emily's family collapses into each other, some weeping, some silently relieved. Jacob's face pales. His attorney lowers his head. Judge bangs the gavel, calling for order. Justice has been declared, but the weight of the events remains. Emily Harper's life may be gone, but the truth has prevailed. Emily's mother, tears streaming, whispers, "Thank God, she can rest now." Sarah and Megan hug each other, overcome with relief and grief. Reporters capture every reaction, every expression. Jacob is escorted out, silent, but courtroom murmurs suggest disbelief and shock. The verdict provides closure, yet the emotional scars of Emily's friends and family will remain forever. Judge addresses the court. Judge, Jacob Reynolds, the evidence, testimony, and jury's verdict have determined your guilt. This court sentences you to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Jacob shows no immediate reaction, shoulders slump, hands gripping the bench. Emily's sister whispers, "This won't bring her back, but at least we have justice." Prosecutor comments to the press afterward. Prosecutor, the case was clear. Premeditation, obsession, and the calculated removal of a life. Today, justice was served for Emily Harper. Emily Harper's life was vibrant, full of dreams, friendships, and small joys that were stolen too soon. Yet, her story now serves as a reminder that even in the shadows, truth and justice can prevail. Her courage and the dedication of those seeking justice for her will not be forgotten. Friends and family speak briefly in the courtroom halls. Sarah, we will remember her laughter, her kindness, not the fear she endured. Megan, she deserves to be remembered for who she was, not for how she was taken. The case of Emily Harper exposes the dangers of obsession, stalking, and manipulation. It shows how calculated actions, even hidden in plain sight, can escalate to tragedy. But it also demonstrates that careful investigation, witness courage, and justice can bring resolution. Remember, this story is a reminder. Vigilance matters. Protect yourself, trust your instincts, and never ignore signs of danger. Emily Harper's life may have ended too soon, but her story ensures that those who harm others cannot escape accountability. Thank you for following the full story of Emily Harper. If you found this story gripping, please hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more true crime stories like this. Share your thoughts in the comments. What do you think drove Jacob Reynolds to such extremes? And always, stay aware of the warning signs around you. This has been Emily Harper's story, brought to light in full.